Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man, a disc golf audio podcast brought to you by Dynamic Discs, where we want to help you become a better disc golfer. All right, we are back with another episode of Disc Golf Answer Man. Of course, we took a week off last week because of Thanksgiving. It's just me and Robert McCall. Everybody else is working hard from home or on assignment. I know Eric actually came and talked to me this morning and talked about some course design work he's going to do. I'm not going to say where it's at because I'm not sure if he can say yet, but he says he's got 2 full days of course design work to do. So he's out doing the Lord's work by giving us more disc golf courses. So we obviously want him to be able to do that. But Robert, how was your Thanksgiving?
Pretty good. Pretty solid Thanksgiving. It wasn't really what we expected. So we were planning to go to Texas to see Shay's family and hang out with them. And Shay's brother and sister-in-law have 2 little boys that are great. We haven't seen them in quite a while. So we wanted to hang with them and, play with them and stuff. And on the way down, there was a bit of a COVID scare, like an unrelated one, but enough for us to be, I guess, concerned. I don't know. And like, all right, so it's 11 hours from Emporia to Junction. We were 2.5 hours in when they told us that. And I was just like, we just decided to turn around because like, if we were going to get down there and be concerned the whole time, like we wouldn't really want people to hold Owen. We wouldn't really want to play with the boys if somebody did have COVID. I don't know. It's just like, things are just so weird this year. So anyway, we turned around. We came back home to Emporia. We stopped in Wichita on the way and got Torchies. Come on.
So not fair, but okay.
We did it.
I guess I can, but I don't.
And then, please don't. But then we got a chicken. What food? What meat do you eat at Thanksgiving?
It's a bird.
Turkey. We got a turkey. We got a smoked turkey from Fanistill, and I heated it up, and it was awesome.
Nice.
And we have so much turkey left. So then Shay and I just hung around here with Owen and watched Netflix, and it's probably the most relaxing holiday I've ever had. Like, I was really sad that we didn't get to go see her family, and of course Shay was too. But gosh, like we haven't just sat and done nothing for a couple of days in as many days as we've been married. So it was kind of awesome. So
it's only 2.5 hours, and I'm sure Owen takes longer than 2.5 hour naps. I'm assuming he does at some point, but
overnight
in the car ride. I mean, as far as
he was good. We actually the reason that we stopped at 2.5 hours was to feed him.
Oh, okay.
Because he had woken up and started fussing a little bit.
He got Torchy taco? No,
he did. Mr. Orange is his favorite, of course. No, but he actually does pretty well in the car. I think he likes the movement of it. And so even if he's awake, he just kind of sits there.
Nice.
He's a pretty good baby as far as babies go. As far as I understand, when it comes to crying a lot,
right,
or sleeping, like he's starting to sleep a little bit more through the night, a little bit. Like he'll go from 11 to 5. Or this morning, he went from 10:30 to 3:30. Shay was with him for just a little bit at 3:30, and then he woke back up at like 6:30. So that's when I fed him.
Gotcha.
So
cool.
It's starting to be a little bit more sustainable, just a little, but we're getting there.
Well, good. Well, I got to drive to Oklahoma and visit with my parents for Thanksgiving. And then we went over to my brothers and had Thanksgiving with them. It was kind of weird because I didn't see all of my family that I normally get to see. And there were some COVID issues, or not issues, but reasons. That was the reason why I didn't get to see all of the family. So it was kind of odd, but still good to see some of the family and relaxing with my parents, and of course eating plenty of turkey and stuffing and all the good stuff.
Chicken.
My mom's chicken. I'm sorry. Yes, we ate chicken.
Yeah, thank you.
We ate my mom's specialty cherry cheese delight, where it's a cream cheese with cool whip, and some condensed milk. Anyway, it's a delicious dessert that I got to have. I had plenty of that. So good stuff. Oh, excellent. I did do something new that I never done before. On Sunday, I did some axe throwing. That was really cool.
Oh, nice. I've wanted to.
Oh, it was so fun. And it's cool because I was trying to think of making sure, because she would say things like, now make sure you aim and then you follow through. And I'm like, I know, follow through.
I know all about that.
I know all about it. So I was doing pretty good, and it was fun. It was actually pretty fun. So
That's awesome.
all right, well, let's get into the questions. Like I said before, we have just me and Robert due to some COVID concerns. We have people working from home, and Eric's out on assignment. So we went back to the old standby of doing a Zoom recording. But we will still get some of your disc golf questions answered. So keep sending those in, and you guys we've got plenty of questions, but keep going to discgolfanswerman.com, submitting those disc golf questions, and we will get them on the air.
Can we get through all of the questions today?
We are not, unless we go all evening. So, but we'll try to bust through.
All right. Buckle up.
This is from Phaedra. She says, okay, now this is back in October. She sent this back in about mid-October. She said, with the movement of the hashtag respect her game on the league's side of disc golf, of the female pros, who would you like to have as your mixed doubles partner? It's a good question. She said, thanks for all you do. Be on the lookout for this year's year's holiday card for y'all. Keep it real. Crafty Phaedra is what she goes by. I think she goes by that on Instagram. Let me see. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, do your thing. I remember she made what are basically 3D disc golf cards for us.
Yeah, so these are really cool. So yes, I am looking forward to this year's for sure. So Robert, in a mixed doubles situation, who would you pick as your partner?
Okay, I'm gonna pick Paige Bjerkes. Sorry, Paige Shue now. I think I would pick her because I'm not confident that we would win whatever mixed doubles tournament we showed up to, because I'm not that good. She's definitely not that good. I'm just kidding. But we would just talk trash to each other pretty much the whole time. And we would have a lot of fun. When we did our casual round, that was one of the most fun times I've had on a video of just talking crap to one another the whole time. So yeah, I think that'd be really fun. And, we'd throw some good shots. We'd probably get outdistanced by like some of the other teams, but we would enjoy ourselves for sure.
Well, I would pick the other Paige.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great choice. We wouldn't get outdistanced at that point.
But one of the things that I always thought was fun with Paige Pierce is that she is into videos. And I'm sure if you've seen her YouTube channel, she's really into videos. And I remember a lot of times when I would film with her, I would be filming her doing some stuff. She would always ask questions about the camera and things like that. So I think it'd be kind of fun we would film each other or something like that. So yeah,
that's cool.
Fun to do that. All right. See, next question.
She would carry you for sure.
Huh?
Wait, what?
What, is she good or I don't know?
Yeah, I've heard.
All right. Next one is from Cooper. He's a question about bag choices. Hello, DeGam. I have a question in regards to what bag I should get. I've been debating. Wait, did I do this last time? I do this all the time.
I think so.
Yeah, I think we did the bag one. We'll skip over that one. All right. Tommy H. Shoulder injury and form. This past summer, I injured my shoulder, partial dislocation by muscling a backhand drive, probably with poor form. I just finished going to physical therapy and I'm working on staying strong to minimize shoulder instability. I also know that improving my form will help prevent injuries. I've played a few partial rounds, but still avoid really going for it on drives. I'm planning to watch some of Danny's videos and do some field work to improve my form. Do you have any advice specific to preventing shoulder dislocation? My physical therapist has encouraged me to keep my arm from going behind the plane of my body, which has caused me to hold back on my follow through, which hurts my distance. Sorry for the long question, and thanks for all you guys do. First, let's just say
we are not doctors.
Physical therapists. Yes, he is obviously much more educated on this.
The closest I am to any doctor.
Is that right? And I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express, so
so you're qualified.
So we'll keep that in mind. But knowing that advice and that he should listen to his physical therapist, is there anything that you can think of to kind of help him still, have some good rounds?
I mean, I'm going to tread lightly here. Shoulders are one of the. I don't feel like we hear about a lot of shoulder injuries in disc golf. We hear more about kind of elbow injuries. From people who are, torquing sidearms over too hard or, not letting their elbow rest properly after playing for a while. But with shoulder injuries, honestly, I don't even really know what to tell you. I would love to say that, it's fine to just not let your not let your arm follow through. And I think that's possible. But one thing that I would recommend, especially for me coming off of knee surgery, I did this and I would tell people to not, is don't go out and play if you're going to reinforce bad habits by doing so. So when I came back from knee surgery, the first little bit I basically planted my legs and then just kind of twisted my upper body. And like, I didn't turn my lower body at all. I just kind of, and my form suffered a lot because of it. Like I round quite a bit more now than I used to before knee surgery, because that was the form that I kind of learned coming out of knee surgery. And so while I know you want to get out there and play, I would urge you to be as cautious as you can. Maybe learn to throw lefty for a little bit until you're totally confident, and 100% do not get into it before your physical therapist says that you should, because it's not worth it. It's not worth re-injuring yourself and having to extend or prolong the time that you can't play disc golf.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one is from Tommy H, and this is the subject is Pam Beasley.
Okay, nice. We're back to an Office podcast. I'm about it.
And it's actually about the Office Ladies podcast. I don't know. Have you ever listened to an episode yet?
I haven't, but I've heard that they talked about disc golf.
Yeah. So this is what his question is. So I've listened to a few episodes of it. So I know you all like The Office. In the Office Ladies podcast, Jenna and Angela talk about froth in an episode because Andy played on the froth team at Cornell. Right. Jenna Fisher is Pam, did not believe that disc golf was a real thing. The topic has turned into a little bit of a running joke, and they have said they want to try playing. It's probably easier said than done, but I think it would be cool if DD could team up with them for some type of promotion. That's a good thing. Maybe I could reach out to them on Instagram or something like that. Tell them we could send them some discs or something like that. But yeah, I did listen to the episode. It was kind of, at first, Jenna was like, "It's a real thing," and Angela was like, "Yes," and Jenna was like, "No, it's not." I'm like, it kind of like hit you. It was like, wait a minute. Okay. So I get
how dare you, Pam?
Yeah. How dare you? But it's like, I mean, I know some people are like, well, yes, I've seen baskets, or I remember playing, or it's like, to never hear at all about it. It was really weird. So anyway, yeah, maybe we can reach out to them on Instagram. Next one is
I live to froth. That's Andy.
This is from Justin. This may be a potential hot take. Oh. With all of the complaints about the courses being too easy because of some of the scores being so far below par for the pros, why don't we just eliminate par altogether? Instead of saying the player shot 10 under par, we should just say that they had 37 shots on the course. You could still say the course average is X, but I feel it would help stop the courses are too easy argument and fight. He's ready for us to fight.
I think I disagree with you here,
Justin,
Bobby. No, because you read the question. Because I think that we need to have some type of standard by which we can measure, but totally eliminating that standard, I'm not sure that's the right way to do it. I think having course par is helpful, even if a good example is the Beast in Waco has a couple of holes this year that they played as par fours that last year played as par fives. And for pretty much everyone but kind of, 980 or 1,000 rated players and up, they play as par fives. They're super tight in the woods, an extremely demanding tee shot on both of them. Well, I guess more a demanding second shot on the second par five. But if you're not a top pro, that probably still plays as a par five. I know that when I get fours on them, I'm like, yeah, it's a birdie, but it's kind of not. But if I get a three, it's like, that kind of feels like an eagle. It's not a birdie. It's better than that. So at the top level, maybe it's just the knowledge that sometimes the course par isn't going to fit them quite as much, or like, let's say they made those changes on the Beast to call those par fours now. If you're an amateur player, just go in knowing that for you, this is going to play like a par five, or there are par threes that are just too long. You're not ever going to reach them. They're going to play as par fours for you. Where you finish in relation to course par comes from just adding up your total strokes afterwards. I don't think I birdied this, I bogeyed that. I just total up a score and see what it matches up to the course par. But I don't think our problem in disc golf is having courses look too easy. I don't think that's what's unlegitimizing or delegitimizing or whatever that word is.
And even,
yeah.
Well, my thinking is even if let's say we follow what he said and we eliminated par, right? You're still going to, to me, the par is, like you said, it's just a standard. It's a number that represents what, whatever level player represents what they should have scored on each hole. And then of course the entire course.
Yeah.
But even if we eliminated that marker that we use as a arguing point for it's too easy or it's too hard or whatever, let's say we eliminated that and all we said was the pro shot at 37. Paul McBeth shot a 37. Someone could then still say, well, gosh, everybody else shoots a 50. This course must be too easy.
It's too easy.
It's still going to, there's still going to be.
It's all the same.
Right. It's saying the same thing, but differently. So I think people would still argue that things are too easy. I don't know that eliminating the par would help that argument.
Right. Well, and it makes it, people are already familiar with how golf is, right? Everyone knows that that's how golf is scored. And I think that's one of the good things that we pull from golf is that our scoring is the same. So even if you haven't played disc golf before, you can quickly understand how to score it.
Yeah. All right. Jose wants to know, is he playing too cautious? I would consider myself a really conservative player, and I'm looking for ways to improve my game. My goal on most courses is to finish with with little to no bogeys, but my average is 1 to 2 bogeys a round, and I only get 1 to 2 birdies most rounds as well. My question is it possible that I'm playing too conservative and am potentially missing out on birdies by playing too safe? What mindset does a Disc Golf Answerman crew have when playing rounds? Thanks for all the help, and I hope someday I can elevate my game to match that of Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Priest. Well, you got to have a goal. Everybody has to have a goal. And if that's your goal, good on you.
You know what? Someday you just might reach the pinnacle.
Probably not.
Of playing as well as Bobby. But but you might not. But you might. So consider it. Yeah, it's possible that you're playing too conservatively. If you average 1 to 2 bogeys around, but you also only average 1 to 2 birdies around, then yeah, I think it's probably worth going out and trying to be a little bit more aggressive. And being aggressive doesn't necessarily mean that you have to try and park every hole. But let's, I'm trying to think of a hole where this would make sense. Okay. Think of like a double mando. You have to go down the middle and a dog legs to the right. And once you're past the mando trees, say they're 150 feet off the tee. Once you're past the mando trees, the basket is another 100 feet, but it's around the corner to the right. So I think playing aggressively is throwing a tee shot like with a forehand that kind of skips up and around the corner and maybe gives you a putt. Playing conservatively would be like throwing a putter to in between the 2 trees, and then just from there throwing a straight shot up to the basket and taking your 3. So where you might consider something like this is the play in between super aggressive and super conservative, which would be throwing something straight down the tunnel that's going to give you maybe like a 50-footer, right? You're not going to ever get around the corner, but you're also going to maybe give yourself a jump putt at it. I would start to look at holes that way and see if that doesn't help you, I don't know, figure something out where you can catch a few more birdies. And if you're playing by yourself, if you're just out playing a casual round, why not? Like, why not send it? Let's say you shoot 10 over, but you had 4 birdies this time. Great. Like, you're giving yourself more chances. Start to figure out which ones of those are worth going for and which ones are just like, hey, I just need to play for par. That's as good as I'm going to get for right now. If you're just playing casually, golly, go send it. Go have fun with it.
Nice. All right. Well, Anthony is back at his disc reviews, and this week he is doing a review over the Dynamic Discs Trespass. And it's interesting because Chris Goodridge, a Team DD player, posted a memory on his Facebook, and it had the original banner that we put up on our website that said "coming soon" or something like that, and it was our first 4 discs, and of course, the Trespass was one of those discs. So it is definitely an oldie, but definitely a goodie, and sometimes forgotten by a few people. So, but let's check out Danny's thought, or no, I'm sorry, Anthony's. It's like my kids; I can't even remember their names. Remember, let's check out Anthony's thoughts on the dynamic discs Trespass.
The Trespass is a high-speed driver for the masses. It's very neutral in its flight, not being too overstable or flipping over too much either. The wide rim is able to take all the power you can throw at it and just keep gliding like crazy. Both backhand and forehand, the Trespass is a distance driver that is about just that, distance. Speed 12, glide 5, turn -1, and fade 3 mean this disc will get a nice turn on a hyzer flip or will hold a massive anhyzer until gently fading out at the end. The Trespass is a great step up into the world of distance drivers. Its relatively neutral flight will reward you with distance while not forcing you to throw as fast as some of the biggest arms. If you're looking to step up your game and increase your distance, I would recommend the Trespass as a great first distance driver. The Trespass will allow you to break through all obstacles and explore new territory in your distance drives. Pick yours up today at dynamicdiscs.com or your favorite local retailer.
All right, good stuff from Anthony. Hey, if you want to see some of these individual disc reviews from Anthony, make sure you follow us on Instagram. Just search Dynamic Discs on Instagram, and you can see some of those posted throughout the week. So check those out for sure. All right, let's get back to some questions. This one's from Nicholas.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
He says, hope Bobby had fun with my name. Well, we did, actually.
Yeah. Well, surprisingly, you knew that we would do that.
So I was wondering what added spin does to a drive. Just trying to get a better understanding of the variables of this flight. So that's actually a good question, because a lot of people say you got to get that spin on that disc. So tell people what that does to your drive.
Okay. So I think the people that throw the disc the farthest are people that impart a lot of spin, but speed to go along with it. And you can't throw a disc really far and not have it be spinning quickly, right? The faster a disc is spinning, the more it wants to stay in the air. Like, these are the facts. So if you're going to throw a disc 500 feet, it's going to have to be spinning pretty darn quickly, and it's going to have to be thrown very fast. But just because of the way our arms work and our wrists work and our bodies work, you can't throw a disc fast and not spin it. It just doesn't work that way. Our bodies are made to impart more spin. Now, if you're throwing a little bit shorter shot, like an up shot with a putter or something like that, getting a little bit more spin on the disc is just going to keep the disc in the air a little bit longer. The faster it's spinning, the more it wants to float, really. So you can spin a disc really fast and not move your arm a lot, and it'll just float. That's how people get started with when they're freestyling. You just kind of flick your wrist and the disc flies nose up.
Like freestyle rapping?
Like Eminem.
Right. Okay.
He was famous for frisbee freestyling, but
right,
rapping.
Spaghetti was all over him. He was. It was because he flicked his.
Yes. Yeah. When his knees were weak and his arms were heavy, it was because of freestyling.
I got you. Yeah.
So you can impart more spin without arm speed, but I don't think you can throw a disc fast and not have it spin very much. So the importance of spin goes right along with speed. It's really just going to keep the disc in the air a little bit longer. How to get more of it? You're asking the wrong person. I know that you don't want to curl your wrist on the take back, but you might want to watch like I'm sure, I think Danny's talked about spin, at least on a forehand and backhand compared to one another. But you might go watch some of the really long throwers, Simon Lizotte, Garrett Gurthey, those type of guys, and see what they do to impart spin and give those things a shot.
Cool. Next one comes from Eric. What's up, the GAM fam? I had a question concerning sponsorships and free agency. I'm not sure if you've ever been able to discuss this topic, but generally speaking, how do manufacturers such as Dynamic Discs handle scouting potential free agents, touring pros for sponsorships? I know I'd love to see someone like Ezra Adderhold ripping a Raider 1,000 feet at Country Club while rocking a DD polo. Thank you, guys, for all that you do. And maybe one day old Danny Big Flicks can give me a lesson on how to bomb a forehand to the moon. I bet you old Danny Big Flicks has a video on that. You can check that out on our YouTube channel. But yeah, I myself, I watched a couple of Ezra's review videos, and I think it'd be cool to see him ripping some dynamic disc plastic for sure.
He's a bomber.
As far as free agents, though, I mean,
yeah,
what is kind of without telling too much, I guess, what is kind of, what do we do to pick up people that are just out there floating around looking for sponsorships?
Yeah, sure. So the disc golf world is pretty small. And if you're talking specifically about touring players, there are not that many touring players that you have to keep up with. I mean, we know, I would say if you just keep up with disc golf, you know who the touring players are. If you work in disc golf and team management is your job, then you really know who they are. And you probably know most of them personally, like even players that have never been on our team and will never be on our team. When I was team manager, I met them just from being out on the road, going to tournaments, hanging out with friends of their friends and stuff like that. But when it comes to recruiting free agents, how we do that, or who we decide to look for us, it's kind of a feel thing. We want to know that person is going to play well. That's really important, but more so that we're going to feel good supporting that person, right? That when we put our name on somebody's back, that mutually that's going to be a good relationship, that they're going to do well for us. We're going to support them. That's what's really important to us when we start looking for free agents. And then when it comes down to how you sign them, it's just about what you're offering, really. That's not always just about who has the most money. It's about what can the company offer to the player. Yeah, it usually is. Some of it's usually money, but it could be team series discs. It could be a promise that you're going to be in this many videos or have this social media stuff made about you. I mean, there's just a whole lot of things that go into account. Bonuses would be included in that. So without giving too much away, it's kind of a feel thing on who we go for. And it's pretty easy. Like the eye test it doesn't lie to you often. If someone's the real deal, you can tell by watching them. Yeah, I guess that's about all I can really say.
We call that the it factor in the biz, just to let you know. Yeah.
So, what biz is that?
The biz.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
The biz.
Yeah.
Biz
yes.
Markey. No. All right. Next one is DJ. That's what Biz Markey is.
You're pulling all the rappers today.
Dropping names.
Yeah.
DG knew, but wants to know about positive turn. He asks, why do they do that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I've seen some discs that have a positive turn number. One example that I saw reviews, the Discraft Malta. Does this mean it's just extra overstable? I know that all flight numbers are objectively different. Busy, what? Objectively different, busy, seriously. Okay.
But I think he meant to do seriously.
Yeah, but seriously. Y'all with the speech to text, kill me. Oh, why they do that? Thanks for the great content and new segments. Keep it rap. Real as possible.
Real as possible.
I guess.
But also not ironic that he said rap in today's episode.
I know.
Okay, so if I was making flight numbers, then I would probably never make a positive turn number, but I understand why some people do it. And we have a couple of discs that have positive turn. The reason for that is, so turn is usually when the disc, if you throw it backhand flat, the degree to which it moves to the right or kind of at least turns a little bit to the right before coming back to the left. There are discs like the Justice that just don't do that. They don't turn ever, unless you have it the most beat up and it's a super headwind. Otherwise, it's just not going to turn. In fact, when you throw it out on a big hyzer, stable and even overstable discs on a big hyzer will just kind of follow the line that they're thrown on. Very, very overstable discs will turn even harder toward the ground, like almost trying to land vertically. That's what I think the Justice is like. I believe the Malta is that same sort of disc. So why they do that, good question. I understand it because they are more apt to turn toward the ground instead of up the other direction. But I do think it's a confusing thing if you think of fade on the left side of the disc and turn on the right side. That's probably the simplest way to do it without saying that a disc has a positive turn. Only have turnover be either a 0 or less than that.
All right. Next question comes from, DG Noob again. This is on to bead or not to bead. That is the question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like my Shakespeare?
I did.
Okay. The age-old putter question of bead versus beadless putter has been beaten to death, but I need some advice. He wants to beat it some more. I've been going through some putter indecision and can't seem to settle on a mold. I have thrown the Judge most, but I feel like I struggle with its overstability because I always miss left. It's definitely the disc's fault for sure. Oh, sorry. Oh, no.
What?
I'm sorry. What? So I picked up a Warden and a Deputy. Both are beadless, and I can't seem to get used to the feel. I like a shallower feel, and I'm a spin putter. I like a bead because I know where to put my finger every throw for consistency, and beadless seems foreign. Any advice? Do I just pick a mold and get used to it? What are good spin putters? Putters that are shallow and beadless. Do beaded/beadless putters fly different? Thanks for all you help, keepers of the real. Bye.
Great. Bye. Okay. Beads do make a disc fly differently. Sometimes it makes a disc a little bit more overstable, but most of what the bead is there for is to have a disc maintain its stability for longer. The more kind of chunks that a putter gets out of the underside of the rim, like where the bead would be, the more quickly it's prone to turn, just to beat up. And so having a bead there makes that edge a little bit more resilient. That's why beads exist. Now they're a big feel thing too. And if you're looking for a putter that's not quite as overstable as a Judge, but still has a bead, the Maiden from Westside Discs would be a great choice for you. It's not super deep like the Dagger. The Dagger is another one from Latitude 64. The Makana as well. All beaded discs, but the Makana and the Dagger are pretty deep. The Maiden is still kind of shallow. A little bit more similar to the Judge. The Judge isn't a shallow putter, but it's more shallow than the Dagger or like an AVR or something like that. That would be one to try. It's not going to finish so hard to the left, but I think for you, if you don't feel comfortable without a bead, there's no need to force it. There's not a magic formula that having a bead or not having a bead will fix for you. It's what you feel most comfortable with and the flight that you get out of it. So if you're worried about something not going left quite as much, I would try the Maiden. Give that a shot. I think you'll like it.
There you go. All right, Veterans for Vets. We've talked about this on quite a few episodes. Right now we have 35 events in 21 states. If you don't remember what it is, it's a unique way to raise money for a local veterans organization. It's also a way to keep your disc golf community active during the winter months because sometimes events tend to kind of slow down. So this is a way to do that, to still have some disc golf community feel and disc golf community events happening in your area. We just had one here in Emporia, played at Jones West. You need to go to, I think it's on Anthony's, at DG Weekly and Eric's Instagram, but Eric had
I think it's on their stories, so you got to do it quick.
Yeah, you got to do it quick. So it's on their stories if you haven't seen it yet. But Eric almost gets an ace on holes 16. So hits the cage. But anyway, so
that'd be a sweet ace.
Yeah. So they raised a little over $1,000 for I have it written down here, for the Emporia State University Student Veterans Association. So that's another plus of this, is that it's a way for you to raise, I already said that, to raise money for your local veteran organization. So a good thing to do during the holidays for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, next question. This is from Justin. He's a beginner disc golf player. Hey guys, love the podcast and all the helpful tips and insights on disc golf. You guys rock. I am a beginner and have only been playing for a few months, and I can throw up to 300 feet. The only two discs that I have been using are a Prime Warden for off the tee shots and putting, and with a Witness fairway driver for tee shots. Do you have any suggestions for other discs that I should try out to help build my bag and improve my game?
Yeah, there's a lot, especially in between those two. For a mid-range, I would look at, it depends on what the Witness does for you. If the Witness goes to the right all the time, like very much to the right, even rolls on you, then you could handle something probably as stable or overstable as an EMAC Truth. So you might look at that for a mid-range. If not, you might want to try something like the original Truth, just the regular Truth, or even something like a Claymore from Latitude 64 is a little bit straighter than the EMAC Truth is. Once you get into fairway drivers, I would recommend that you try the Maverick. It's going to go a little bit straighter for you than the Witness, less movement to the right, but not really a hard fade to the left. And then if you're finding that you can throw the Maverick pretty straight, but it's not going left for you at the end, then I would try the Explorer from Latitude 64. I think those are really good discs to build out your bag, especially if you're just starting out. Yeah, I think those are great ones to try.
Excellent. All right, we'll keep it in line with the trespass and distance drivers. Danny brings us some disc golf tips and his tricks to throwing distance drivers.
It's common knowledge that distance drivers require more power than other discs, so newer players should stick to slower discs. But from my experience, nose angle plays just as much of a role in getting a good flight out of those faster discs, if not more. Let's take a look at how to throw distance drivers. Distance drivers are unforgiving. They tend to have a noticeable speed threshold before they start flying the way they're designed. If a driver isn't thrown hard enough, chances are even the most understable drivers will start fading left immediately, but they also required a good nose angle. It would seem that the solution to meeting the power requirement for a disc would be just to throw with more strength, but in disc golf, strength rarely translates to arm speed. In fact, one of the most common beginner mistakes is muscling. That's where the player tries to throw the disc as hard as possible from the peak of their reach back, and because they're so tense, their arm can't swing freely to create the ideal swing. It's much better to think of speed building throughout the pull, so as the disc starts its motion at the peak of the reach back, it's moving fairly slowly, but the speed builds as it's moving, so it comes out of the power pocket much faster and ends up reaching its peak velocity at the release point. So if you're struggling with arm speed, try starting slower and letting your speed peak at the release point. I've talked about nose angle quite a few times on these segments, but it's still one of the most common issues I see, so I'll just mention it again real quick. A nose-up throw will fly slower and more stable. It's most often caused by a high reach back and low release point, resulting in an air-bounced shot that loses a lot of power. The solution is to reach back lower and release a little bit higher while turning your wrist down like pouring coffee to set the disc on its ideal trajectory. Many players struggling with nose angle or power lean towards super understable distance drivers. The problem is, super understable distance drivers will either hyzer out if they're nose up, or have so much turn that they're unreliable when powered up. So I've found the sweet spot for a first distance driver is the Trespass. It has plenty of distance without having too high of a speed threshold, and it has a nice neutral flight that will still be controllable and let players know when they've thrown a good shot. So those are my tips for throwing drivers. Throw harder and throw nose down. If you're looking for more tips on how to throw distance drivers, hop on over to the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook group to get some advice on your game from a great community. And make sure to subscribe to Disc Golf Audio for more tips on how to become a better disc golfer.
All right, so good stuff from Danny on tricks to throwing distance drivers. If you're looking for more tips from Danny, check out our YouTube channel. Just search for Dynamic Discs and look for the Physics of Flight series and the Beginner's Guide series. And you have, gosh, at least 20 or 30 videos on all kinds of different aspects of disc golf. So
great resource for sure.
Oh, yeah, great resource to help you become a better disc golfer for sure. So if you are involved with disc golf and you did not hear about the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship on ESPN2, then you must be living under a rock, because
what are you doing?
Yeah, what do you even care about disc golf?
Have you even heard of disc golf?
Do you even know how to talk? No. Jeff Spring has taken the Disc Golf Pro Tour and really run with it, and he has done a lot of things to help grow that tour. Then, of course, helping disc golf. And one of the big things that just happened was he got the Pro Tour Championship on ESPN2. Now, a lot of disc golfers already knew the outcome, but it was still exciting to watch the actual coverage and what they put together. And I got to tell you, the combination between Jomez Pro and I cannot remember, I'm sorry, I apologize, but I cannot remember the other production company that helped them out. But they did an outstanding job of representing our sport and making it exciting and showing the play. I know a lot of people had some criticism for it because of the way it was a condensed format, but to me, it was just as entertaining as any other sports show that I watch on ESPN2 type format. A lot of times I'll watch like CrossFit, and I've been watching a little bit of other sports on there. So, but I mean, just the whole player profile, showing off the players, building their story. They were showing like old photos from the players just to kind of get you to know the players a little bit more, so you felt a little more invested in them as they were playing. What were some of your thoughts, Robert, as you were checking out the coverage?
I loved watching it. We were packing to get on the road, so we weren't super invested when we started. But by the time it was going, I was like, gosh, I got to watch this, you know? And I think it was really well done. They made some big improvements over the CBS Sports Network coverage. And I think a big part of that is that it was one 2-hour broadcast with only 2 rounds to cover. Yeah. With the CBS Sports, it was 46 or whatever it is minutes for 1 round. And this just allowed them to space it out a little bit more and to show more action and to kind of develop the story of what was happening during the rounds. That was one of the coolest things for me. Another was just that I thought the camera work was pretty great. I'm not an expert on that, but it seemed like, you could follow the shots all the time. They had player reactions, which I think is really cool to watch and to hear too. Yeah, across the board, I just thought it was awesome. I really enjoyed watching it, and fun to see it, on ESPN, like ESPN, on ESPN2. When they go to a commercial, it's a national commercial. It's not just a disc golf commercial. Now, it was cool to see our commercials on there. For sure, yeah. A commercial that I wrote and Bobby produced was on there, and that was cool. Super cool. Yeah. I saw you posted something about that and I was like, you know what? That is pretty cool. Like we have never done something that was on TV and now here we are. Yeah, it was awesome. But anyway, to see that was super cool. And to see the response to it was cool as well. There was a lot of tweets and a lot of Facebook and Instagram posts about it. Some of them really cool and exciting to see. Some of them like about what you'd expect, people just being like, yeah, this is dumb. I could throw that, or right. What's my life come to? I'm watching disc golf on ESPN. It's like, okay, pal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there,
buddy. But no, I thought it was awesome. And we had a great time watching it. It's really cool to see Bubba Watson's tweet about it. That he plays disc golf. He set up a disc golf thing at a minor league stadium in Florida that some people went to. So he tweeted about that. But, we've known that he likes disc golf for a while. But it was cool to see Rory McIlroy's response to that. He responded below and said, yeah, these guys are good. These guys and girls are good. I don't remember exactly what he said. Yeah. But like Rory's a former world number 1. And Bubba's a major winner, but so is Rory. And he's arguably more relevant in golf right now. Just to have big time names watching that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. I definitely, by the end of the broadcast, I was hungry for some Chex Mix because they kept playing the
because of that John Legend
commercial talking about the holidays and Chex Mix and stuff like that.
Oh, that was hilarious.
It's been a while since I had some Puppy John. You need some Puppy John with the Chex Mix. But anyway, no, it was cool to see the mix of disc golf commercials and regular commercial, for lack of a better term, regular commercials that you would see. The PDGA did put out an article talking about some of the stats, because unlike CBS, they did not tell us the viewership, or at least that I haven't been privy to that knowledge. I haven't heard that they shared that with us. But ESPN shared it with PDGA and the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And it looks like, I'm just going to read it straight from the article just so to get all the key information. The numbers are in, and they show that Disc Golf Network's debut on ESPN2 was an unqualified success with over 225,000 total viewers, including 115,000 in the key 18 to 49-year-old sales demographic. The 2-hour broadcast, which featured the final round of the 2020 Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, was well ahead of any other ESPN2 programming for the day, which is kind of cool. I mean, to read that is like, wow, we did better than anybody else that day. And of course, they have a graph out there that kind of show some of the stats from the day. Trying to see if there's any other info. And then Ultiworld did some coverage, talked about kind of the similar numbers. But they got a quote from Jeff Spring that he said, "Solid start. We're excited and hopeful to build on this. Our focus is to work even harder to collaborate and bring the entire disc golf world together in 2021. You can check out those articles at pdj.com and the other one at ultiworld.discgolf.com. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see that. Now, I will admit, when I saw 225,000 viewers, I thought that's a big number, but it didn't feel, I mean, they were saying on some of the other, like the big network, The Bachelorette was on, and it had, I think it said 4 million views. So it's like, but yeah. I mean, that's The Bachelorette for one thing. And it's also a huge network. But then they showed some comparisons of, let's see, I think they mentioned that ESPN2 has had Ultimate Frisbee on it, and it only drew in 150,000 viewers. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. And then ESPN2 averages 300,000 viewers in the prime time during 2019. So it's like, okay, 225,000 is pretty close to that average. So that kind of made me feel a little bit better about the numbers and giving it the unqualified success status for sure. But it's exciting all around. And I know that 2021, I know Jeff Spring's working to bring it. I'm sure we'll see more of it on TV for 2021. And that, I think, will be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Things in 2020 have been great for disc golf across the board, for manufacturers, for players, not getting to play as many tournaments, but the tournaments that they have gotten to play, it seems like they've gotten a lot more coverage, a lot more publicity, and yeah, disc golf's getting a lot of attention, and it's pretty freaking cool.
And like I said, if you missed and you're thinking, I didn't know it was on ESPN2, you need to follow Disc Golf Pro Tour's Championship, or the Disc Golf Pro Tour Facebook page, Instagram. I'm sure they're on Twitter, to make sure you know everything, or just go to DGPT.com and follow there. So next time they're on ESPN. All right, let's get a few more questions in before we call it a day. What do you say?
Yeah, let's.
This next one from Shay. I just wanted to end with the rhyme. All right, drop zones and the line of play. I have a question about the rule that allows you to move back along the line of play at the cost of a stroke. Did we do something similar to this before?
I don't know if we did exactly this, though.
I'll read the rest. Or no stroke if utilized after an OB shot. If I miss a Mando and proceed to a drop zone, am I allowed to move back along the line of play? If so, would my line be relative to the center of the drop zone or the basket? I can think of one hole at a local course where moving back from the drop zone would open up an easier hyzer option. Do we do this exact question, or is it just so close?
No, we haven't done this one because of the drop zone thing. And honestly, I don't know the answer to that.
This time on Stump Robert.
Yeah, my initial instinct is no, you can't move back from the drop zone because it's a forced lie, and that isn't an OB lie, right? So when you can take relief in infinity backwards from where you went out of bounds, is because you went out of bounds and you're taking your lie from there. If you go to a drop zone is usually an improvement over where you would be out of bounds. Usually, not always, but when that's set in place, I think your only options are go to the drop zone or play from your previous lie. It's not play from where it went out of bounds. And the only time that you get that special rule is when you go out of bounds. So all that to say, no, I don't think you can take infinite relief back from a drop zone.
There you go. This one's from Stefan. Hips and...
That makes me think of Saturday Night Live every time. He comes and talks about the new clubs in New York. It's Bill Hader, and he always cracks.
Yes.
Anyway.
No, I
Funny.
watched something, and that came up on my YouTube stream about breaking the fourth wall or breaking character. And he was
Yes.
doing a bunch of stuff on. Yeah, it was funny. All right, I think he's saying hips and reach back, but it says hips and retch back. So we'll see.
Retch back. Oh dear.
Let's see what the question says. When I do reach back, not spelled the way it's supposed to be spelled, but anyway,
Retch back.
should my hips be parallel to the intended line of throw and only my upper body turn 90 degrees away from the line? Or should the hips also be turned away from the intended line of shot?
Yeah, good question. And yes, you absolutely should have your hips turned beyond. Not that your upper body is not the most important port. Nice. Good one, Robert. Most important part. It's hard. Words are hard.
Words are
what do they call
hard.
those? Spoonerisms, I think. When you flip. Anyway, whatever.
We call them
Most
in this show.
Bobbyisms. That's right. Cool Daddy Slick Breezeisms. The most important part of your reach back is getting your hips turned away. Like that's why you do the footwork that you do, is so that your hips are turned away from the target. If you keep them facing toward the target and only turn your upper body, you're wasting a lot of potential energy because you're not able to snap forward. Part of your body uncoiling is already uncoiled. So you want to get your hips turned away from the target so that you can uncoil all at the same time. There you go.
There you go. There it is. All right,
There it
next one
is.
From
I
AA
did
Ron.
that.
You did that. The next one is from AA Ron. Warrant mid-range. Hey guys, I rock 3 mid-ranges in my bag. A verdict for mostly overstable shots, an EMAC truth for mostly straight shots. But the mid-range I have been loving and using the most is my Warrant. Shots that need to go right. Heiser flip with the right finish is the best shot for me with this disc. I only have 2 of them, and one is getting too worn out. Since you don't make them anymore, what discs do you recommend would be a good substitute?
Well, check back with us in 2021. We might have more warrants. It's hard to say for sure, but it's not. We will have some more warrants in 2021. Having that said, in the meantime, I would pick up a Lucid Bounty. It's not going to be quite as understable as the Warrant is, but it's a shot shaper. It's move it to the right, throw it slow and straight. You can pretty much do what you want to do with a Bounty, especially if you start it with a little bit of angle. So that'd be one that I would suggest. If you are determined for it to be very understable like the Warrant is, you might check out a Trespass from Westside Discs. That's a good comparison as well.
Oh, what?
Trespass?
Trespass. I thought you said Traces.
Trespass. New disc. Hadn't heard of it.
Yeah. All right. Last question for this episode is from Spencer. Decision making and confidence. I have a 2-part question about competition. I feel like I have all the shots to be playing open during tournaments. However, I shoot myself in the foot. Well, there's your problem. Don't shoot yourself anywhere.
You literally should never shoot yourself in the foot.
Never. Not especially during tournaments.
That will hurt.
Yeah. By choosing shots that are too aggressive or involve too much risk, I feel like sometimes I'm missing out on scoring opportunities if I play it safe. I was wondering if there is anything you guys think of while deciding if a shot is worth the risk.
Yes. This is kind of like the question that we answered earlier. You do have to take some risks in order to get shots at birdie a lot of times. But what I would do is it's kind of like a risk reward analysis, right? Go to a hole that you want to maybe be a little bit more aggressive on and take an aggressive line and see kind of what percentage that gets you inside the circle. Then take a slightly less aggressive line, but more aggressive than you normally would. See where that gets you. Throw your normal line. See where that gets you. And if your aggressive line gets you in the circle like 50% of the time, then great. Like that's probably worth the risk. If you're going to birdie it half the time, even at worst, say you bogey it, that's going to even out pretty nicely. But you probably won't bogey every single time. Maybe you'll par some of those times that you don't get inside the circle. But if it's only like a 10% inside the circle or that even gives you a putt, it may not be worth the risk. So yeah, I just kind of go out there and throw some shots until you feel like this is kind of a stretch that I'll ever birdie this hole. Then just don't be aggressive on that hole. But if there's one where you can stretch it out a little bit, say, all right, I'll give that a shot.
So to me, I mean, you're spewing out all these numbers and they all make sense. They all are good.
I got all these numbers.
But let's say I don't have a calculator on me.
And normally we don't.
Right. So how do I approach this? I guess my thinking is that how much are you really practicing? And it is kind of what you're saying. You're just using numbers is in the sense that, to me, if you're going out there and you're doing crazy shots that you've never practiced, but in your mind you're thinking, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna risk it. Well, that's not right. You got to take a calculated risk in that, as Robert was saying, the research is done because you've done the practice and you practice those shots. But I feel like sometimes beginners think that they're just going to go all out and not realize that when a pro player, the touring pro, says, I'm taking a risk, he's already probably done that shots hundreds of times in other situations. So
right.
It's a risk for them because maybe it's not a shot that they initially thought they were going to do, but because they're way behind or they've got to make up some ground on strokes, they're going to take a risk and take this shot that's not normally what they would normally do, but they've done it so many other times, whereas some people think they can just on a whim take a risk that they've never thrown before.
Right. No, it's difficult to say exactly what the percentages are going to be. You know, you could go throw 10 shots off the tee and then however many out of 10, then that's 10%. Each of those are 10%, I mean, but it's really more of a feel thing. Like, what's a good example? Okay. Hole 5 here at Jones East. It's uphill 480 feet or something like that. And there's OB short, all short in the tall grass. Right. And Eric goes for it. McCabe goes for it every time we play. And I go for it 1 out of every 20 times or something like that. And the reason for that is that when I stand over that shot, I don't feel really confident. And because of that, it's not worth it for me to just go at the green, even if like I could get an eagle. Well, but most of the time I'll just throw it out of bounds and get a 4. When I play the layup just to that little landing zone and just throw putter, I bet I have a 60% birdie rate or a 70% birdie rate. But my eagle rate is so low. I've probably only gotten it like 3 or 4 times, but I've gone out of bounds trying to get it lots of times. So it's not really a strict percentage, so to speak, but more kind of how you feel standing over it. Yeah. And then let your past experience let you know if you're being honest with yourself. Like if I feel like, yeah, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get that eagle today. But I go out of bounds 8 out of 10 times. Probably not. I'm probably not going to get that eagle today, you know?
Now for me, I can trust the percentages because 0% to make birdies on that hole. So that I can absolutely trust.
Yep. That's totally fair. So
second part is sometimes a shot is something that I know I should be able to execute, but for some reason I step up and feel uncomfortable and start overthinking the shot. Is there any way to regain confidence before a shot? Or if I feel uncomfortable, should I just play a different line that I'm more comfortable with, but may lose out on a scoring chance?
That's kind of a tough one, to be honest.
It's got to be in the moment. That's got to
game
time decision, right? Type stuff.
Right. For me, it's, I would say for me, it's, if I haven't ever practiced a line, I'm not very likely to throw it unless there's something on the line and I just can't get out of it. You know, like if I have to birdie and this is the only way to do it, that's about the only time I would try something that I hadn't tried before. It really just comes down to how you feel standing over the shot. If you don't feel good about it, you're probably not going to execute it. Or if you're anxious over it, you're probably not going to execute it. So your time is better spent playing a shot that gets you, your par, or even if it gets you a bogey, but that's better than what the alternative would be. It might be worth that.
Yeah. All All right, guys. Well, that's it for this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. We appreciate you guys and your patience as we do this a little different on the Zoom. We are thankful, though, we are allowed to still do this with technology. We're able to do this. So hopefully you guys still are able to enjoy the show. But keep sending those questions in. Make sure you check out veteransforvet.com to run a Veterans for Vets in your area. Give us those 5-star reviews on iTunes. Or now they call it Apple Podcasts. I forgot.
Yep.
iTunes isn't for podcasts anymore. Now you go to Apple
music.
Podcasts. So yeah. So if you do Apple Podcasts, do that. But be sure you download so you can hear the episode. Anything else I forgot?
No, I think that's it.
All right, guys, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube if you're seeing this on YouTube so you never miss a video. We'll see you on the next show.